Hello everyone, welcome back to Rob's Gaming Table. I'm Rob, and today on the table we're playing some more KeyForge solo. Hello, hello, hello. We're playing this one. Nope, this one. Abyssal Conspiracy. That's what we're playing today. I already scheduled the next one for Monday, But it may move to Tuesday, but you can set a reminder for that stream. Hello, everybody joining live. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Do I sound okay? Am I too loud? I don't know. Is my mic spiking? Maybe. Maybe. 1 second. Let's see. Bear with me. Just trying out a new audio device, getting ready for Gen Con. No. So we'll do some, the best place to test is production. That's what we do here. Just FYI. Okay, looks like it's peaking, so I'll turn that down. Okay, let's try that. Volume's pretty low. Okay, I just turned my gain down a little bit because it looks like I'm being too loud like usual. Getting excited to play some KeyForge, so I start yelling because I want to play new decks. Just joking. Hello, everybody. Kanji, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't always test code, but when I do, it's always in production. Because the test environment is never 100% the same and not an accurate test. Yeah. Anyways. Hello. Good question. Patrick C says, hi Rob, just a quick question. Did you back the Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs solo tiny Gloomhaven? No. I didn't know that was a thing. No, I didn't. No thanks. I've yet to hear anything come from that campaign that I've cared about, but I haven't looked at it to know. But I definitely get an email spam about it, and I've added it all to my spam. But it's like all this stuff during the crowdfunding trying to get me to go there, and it's like, we have an RPG. I don't play RPGs. But I think I saw the Buttons like logo, but I didn't understand what it was. I thought it was like swag, like buttons and pins and stuff. Because they sell that kind of stuff at Gen Con. They always have like the Gloomhaven pins. I thought it was just more of that, like to upsell people on the crowdfunding. But like, I'm not interested in that campaign at all. There's been nothing in there for me. It's definitely not targeted at me for sure. Like, I don't need miniatures for Gloomhaven. I don't need a second edition of Gloomhaven. I just need digital Frosthaven, and I need Frosthaven Jaws of the Lion. Those are the only Haven things I need, or would like. Or some books to play Frosthaven physical out of those books that they said they were going to make. That would be nice. So yeah, not really interested in that campaign. Oh, it's a tiny Gloomhaven game. It looks really good. Oh, okay. Well, I'll wait till it releases, and if it's the bee's knees, then maybe I'll try to get a copy, but doesn't sound like something I really care for. Yeah. We'll see when it actually delivers 4 years from now, and it's full of errata and incomplete components and stuff. And they'll charge more for it later too, so I'll be less interested. Yeah, delivery 2042. So we'll talk about it then when it's actually out. And maybe I'll wait for the second edition, so where they like reduce the errata and FAQ down to 30 pages instead of 70 pages. Yeah, I'll wait. No thanks. Anyways, we're playing KeyForge today. Screw Gloomhaven. If you're interested in the Haven games, we're playing Frosthaven this weekend. Tune in. But until then, I don't care. Rob is a jack of all trades, no doubt. I'm a jack of something. Yeah, throw Isaac money for his 2034 project. No, I'm good. Oh, it was only $15 US, Amanda? So you think that makes it right? But what's shipping? Shipping's probably like $30. But you're probably backing other stuff, so it made sense for the upsell for you. But for me, if I just went in to back that, I'm going to pay $30 shipping to get a $15 product that is arguably maybe not worth $15. But then again, converted to Canadian, that's $800 Canadian I spent total on that $45 purchase of a tiny little game that I have no need for. If I want to play Gloomhaven Portable, I'm going to play it on a portable device and play it digitally, okay? I don't need a tiny version to carry in my pocket. I have that other tiny dungeon crawler. Oh, oh man, I forget the name of it already that I streamed recently. It's like one word name, I think. I can picture the black box. I picture it's metal, but I don't remember the name because I'm officially old and my memory is garbage. But yeah. Yeah, I don't remember. Anyways, but yeah, I already have a portable dungeon crawler that fits in my pocket. Yes, thank you, Patrick. Thank you for being here and supporting the channel for so long. Much appreciated. So today we're playing another one of these KeyForge Adventure packs. We played one the other day. You can find it down below in the video description. We streamed it. We unboxed in that last stream. I unboxed all my Game Found pledge. Speaking of pledging for things, I received my KeyForge Winds of Exchange pledge, and we opened my custom deck with my own name on it and my custom playmat. And we'll talk a bit more about my deck today that I ended up on the fly during that stream. Somebody in chat mentioned, why don't you play your new deck you just opened with like 99% of cards I've never seen or played with before, instead of the deck I'd practiced with? Sure, let's do that. So we did that on stream. It was fun. I probably drove the deck very poorly, but we still did okay. The deck's really neat, and it has my name on it, so it's kind of cool to have my own KeyForge deck with my own YouTube channel name on it. It's pretty sick. And it's actually a cool name. It's like Rob's Table. Here, we can look at it actually. But if you want to see more about the deck and the deck get played, check that out. But I just wanted to show you this. I looked it up today. And here's my deck. The name is, oh, you can't really see, it's cut off. Oh, right here, right here. The name is Rob's Gaming Table, the Furry and Giant. So again, it's like, I don't know, this AI algorithm, whatever it is, over at Ghost Galaxy, knows I'm tall and knows I'm pretty hairy, I think. Or that I'm a furry, but we won't talk about other hobbies. But anyways, it's a 77 SAS. Again, this is a new set, so I know when the SAS calculations for KeyForge decks are very crazy, but I remember when new sets came out back in the day when I used to play heavily in tournaments, it would take a while for them to get tournament data or judge cards and get the algorithm all updated to properly evaluate cards from a new set. So I don't believe this, but supposedly this deck is in the top 10% of decks, and it's lights out good. It's a 77. You can see on the top meter up here. Again, I haven't played in so long, I don't know what any of this stuff really means anymore. But supposedly you see it on the yellow bar here, it's like way ahead of the curve. But it's probably a sucky deck in tournaments. Like I don't know if I trust this SAS stuff. It's a -4 on meta, so it's probably not the greatest in tournaments. I don't know, but yeah, there's the deck. Like, I got no artifact control. This amber generation, is that not garbage? I don't know. But yeah, this is my own custom KeyForge deck that I got through backing the crowdfunding campaign. Has none of the factions in I was hoping it had that I liked in the past, but I mean, it was still fun to play. Tons of card draw. Like, I literally had like 20 cards in my hand at one point, it felt like. I could have had more probably if I played it properly. But it's like the card draw in it is freaking off the hook. It's insane, which I love card draw in competitive card games. I love having more options in my hand than my opponent. I also love trying to fumble with a giant hand of cards to like troll my opponent, to like intimidate them with my larger hand of cards. So yeah, it kind of fits me. But again, I don't know. Like the amber control is like, I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, I don't know enough about this stuff anymore. It's been a long time. But yeah, it's got a +5 synergy, whatever that means. But yeah, there you go. So I just thought it was funny. Again, this will probably change because this is probably not accurate because it's new set, new cards, only been out for a little bit. But there you go. I got it on the internet recorded that this is an amazing deck. So if it does change and it becomes garbage statistically on this website, then you know, we won't care about that. We only care about this stream right here. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, today we're playing this thing. Okay, this KeyForge Adventures Abyssal Conspiracy. I grabbed this yesterday. I was gonna say, I grabbed this last year at Gen Con and didn't play it until yesterday for the first time. So yeah, I may have ran to this booth to grab these because I really wanted the physical copies because I never did the print and play stuff. I don't like printing and playing things. I just rather just get a a good quality copy. So I'm glad Ghost Galaxy produced this physically. So for $24.99 US, I ran to their booth, bought this last year with the Key Rackin' one. We played the Key Rackin' last stream. Here's the second one they came out with. So these were designed by Fantasy Flight Games, but Ghost Galaxy's made, who now owns the rights to KeyForge, made some physical copies. They also added Nightmare mode to the deck, so, to the scenario. So if you're like, if you have a deck that kicks the crap out of this scenario, they've added a Nightmare mode with rules and cards that you can turn this into a Nightmare scenario. But yeah, this is a way to play KeyForge, which is for those that don't know, it's a competitive card game, 1v1 by default. But during COVID lockdowns, they quickly pivoted because all the tournaments got canceled. They quickly tried to make a way so people still wanted to buy decks, play their decks, and not let the game die. So they quickly designed 2 scenarios that are able to be played up to 3 players cooperatively against a like AI scenario. And it has background story, a theme, a conclusions, all these kind of things when you win. At least the third one does. But this one does have a story, what's going on. So the Key Rackin', we were trying to stop him from rising to the top and destroying the planet, basically. But this is the sequel about finding the mystery of some cultists that were trying to like unlock this thing, and we're trying to go down to the depths of the ocean and stop them from opening these seals or something, which I think is what released the Key Rackin'. So maybe this is a prequel or something. I don't know. But anyways, we're just going to play it and have some fun. Show you how it works. So on the last stream, it was mentioned that these decks, these were made around the time of Dark Tidings set, I believe, in KeyForge. And it has the tide mechanic where you want the tide to be high to benefit you and low will benefit the opponent. That's how it kind of works in these scenarios. So somebody mentioned, 2 days ago when we streamed, they said that decks that could manipulate the tide were kind of easier or like more beneficial from the Dark Tidings set. So I only owned 4 decks. So I started opening the decks because sorry, rewind. I played this yesterday to learn it with, I literally played like 6 games of KeyForge yesterday afternoon against this thing, trying to beat it. But I played some Winds of Exchange deck that I opened. I tried it, got my butt kicked. I tried my own deck, got my butt kicked. Then I was like, oh yeah, I remember somebody mentioning play something that has a tide mechanic. And I wasn't playing the game during the time Dark Tidings came out, but I noticed I'd bought 4 decks just to store to the side. So I started opening those decks one by one and playing against this Abyssal Conspiracy scenario. And I found that I got my butt kicked, and then I got to the 3rd deck out of 4, and I won. So then I decided that's the deck we're playing with today. So I didn't play the 4th deck, but I have a question about the 4th deck following me here. But this deck I liked. When I opened the last 2 decks, they both had shadows in them, and I was like, oh, shadows is in this set? Because I didn't have them in the other 2 Dark Tidings decks I opened. They were more untamed and stuff. What was in them? They had some of the new factions in them. But anyways, this one, I looked at first, and I was like, okay, I know these factions from playing the game originally when it came out, the 1st and 2nd sets. So I look at the rare cards of a deck usually to find out what type of deck it is, like what the focus is. And I noticed I found a classic location I used to love playing with, the Howling Pit. And then my brain broke when I read it. It says each player refills their hand to 1 additional step during their draw card step. Okay, so when you play this against another player in casual, competitive play, whatever, you both get to draw an extra card. Okay, so it speeds up the game. Everyone's getting tons of card draw, but you usually can benefit from it better unless you're playing another player who knows how to roll you. But it should even it out, right? You're both getting extra card. It's all fun and games, right? I put it in play, I get an amber. But then I was like, wait a second, how does this work playing against the Key Rackin' or playing against the Abyssal Conspiracy? So I Googled. There is no concise answer. There is no consensus, I should say. Nobody has figured out what the actual intention is here. So if I'm playing 1 to 3 players, as indicated by the scenario, we're all players. Obviously, the scenario is not a player. But then in the rulebook, it says it takes the place of the opposing player. And it does draw cards. You actually draw cards for it during their draw card step and put them into play. So I don't know how to play this card. So that's why I'm not playing this one on stream, because I was like, I could not find, I reread the rules. I read the rules for Key Rackin'. I read the rules for Abyssal Conspiracy very carefully. I was trying to find some way to justify, does the scenario get to draw an extra card or not? Are they a player? Are they not? I don't know. I don't know if they even truly have a draw card step. but it's in quotes. So like they do have a step where they draw cards, but I'm drawing their cards. So does that count? I don't know. So anyways, I'm curious if you're watching this now or later, comment down below. How would you rule this? Or do you know if there was ever an official ruling on this? Because this is an old card. It's been around for a long time. It was around when these scenarios happen. But how does this kind of card, or a card like Succubus that reduces the card draw from your opponent, does the AI draw less cards? Are they a player? I don't know. I'm not sure. So I'm just curious, how would you rule this? How would you play this? Let me know later. It's just a curious question for anyone that plays KeyForge or has played these scenarios. What would you do? I don't know. But I don't know if I'm cheating if I draw cards and they don't. I don't know if I'm breaking the scenario by letting them draw extra cards if that gets too powerful. I don't know. But it's a weird one because they obviously had this card in the pool when they designed the scenarios. But I just didn't know, and I saw people online asking the questions about those kind of cards that reduce card draw or increase card draw. Does it affect the scenario? And no one had everyone was debating and everyone ruled it a different way. Everyone had an excuse why it worked or it didn't work because they're not a player, but they are a player, but they're your opponent, but they draw, but they don't draw, you draw. You know, they don't really have a hand, but they do have a hand. It's their archives, like all this stuff, right? No one had a clear answer that I could feel comfortable rolling with, but just the question I had. So because of that, I unfortunately will not be playing this deck against the AI probably ever on stream unless we find a semi-official answer. So I'm going to play this deck that doesn't have the Howling Pit in it. But yeah. But yeah, if you go read the rules for both the scenarios, it's like describes that like they're not a player, but they take the place of the opposing player. And then it talks about like anything that affects a player playing cards. They technically are playing cards, but you're drawing them and playing them for them. They don't have a hand, but they do have a hand. It's their archives and all this silly stuff. So it's like reading both rule sets, I couldn't come up with my own justification on either way. I was confused every time. I was like, okay, I can't do this. I can't do it, so I'm not going to play it. But we'll try to beat him with this one. So let's explain the scenario. So it comes with 2 little packs of cards. It has an adventure deck, just like the one we played the other day, that is full of creatures and artifacts and actions and tons of amber pips everywhere. It takes the evil twin mechanic that when a deck gets built, if you have an evil twin, that means somewhere out there, someone has the like twin of your deck, which is kind of cool. I don't have any evil twin decks that I've opened yet or anything. I don't know what set that became a thing in, but they have a whole bunch of evil twins in here for fun. So the Fuzzy Gruin has an evil twin right here, and this is what it does in this deck. There's a whole bunch of them. But yeah, Sir Maros has an evil twin in here. So the bad guy has all cool black looking creature cards. This guy, Merkins. Oh, I know Merkins. A lot of Merkins watch my stream. I'll also see a lot of Merkins when I go to Gen Con, right? As a Canadian, I see Merkins a lot when I cross the border, right? That's what a Merkin is, right? No? Not funny? I have to wait for the chat delay to catch up and them to, you know, give me the face palm. Oh, man, this guy and his stupid dad jokes. Anyways. 16 chains incoming? Oh, no. America, says Amanda. All right. So we must beat the Merkins in this deck when they show up, okay? Bad Merkins, bad Merkins. I love the pride. It's awesome. All right. So I'm just going to throw the adventure deck up here somewhere. Okay, I'm playing on the bigger KeyForge deck because we need more space for this scenario compared to the other day. So here's the boat that we're arriving on, and this boat's going to help us. It's kind of like our starting location. We're going to dive off the boat, and we're going to go deep into the water and push our luck and go to 2 depth or 3 depth. And the thing is, we're trying to hunt for this thing. This little artifact location thingy, it's a relic. It cannot leave play. It has an Omni ability. This is just set aside. Look at this sick looking key art here. Okay, it's Omni. So we can use it when we call any house to exhaust a friendly creature of the active house. If you do, raise the tide. Okay, so we have a tide raising mechanic that is not taking chains or spending amber, which is awesome. Okay, but we need to find this thing, and this thing is in the level 2 depth. So our boat starts out at 1 depth. And we're going to set up our little sea here. Oh, hold on. I just remembered. Oh, yeah. Oh, 1 sec. Oh, never mind. Whatever. So I'll just use a little meeple or something here. Let's use like a yellow one. Okay. It says use your Archon card to determine which location you're at. And yes, anyone who's watched our My Little Pony, the deck building game stream, yes, this has the whole location mechanic for cards, or the Transformers deck building game recently. Those games have this whole, yes, I said My Little Pony, that's right. If you're a KeyForge fan, you came to my channel, yes, I've changed, okay? I've changed. I'm not as hardcore cool as I used to be. I now play pony games. But anyways, so we have our boat. Our boat starts at level 1. We have two other level 1 water locations that are random. They have abilities on them when we're at them. But these locations, you know, they tell you, I think, to use your Archon card. So we start at this location, and then we would move around. But we're not going to do that because I have a yellow meeple. And this is us. And we start on our boat, okay? And this scenario, okay, ready to blow your mind here? Okay, we're playing KeyForge, right? We're playing no, you can't see it. KeyForge, okay, KeyForge, okay? In this scenario, though, we do not forge keys. What do you need? I need Mel. I'm going to try to describe it without giving away what it is, but it's KeyForge related. It is upstairs on the top floor. I could use it instead of a meeple to track where I am. Let's see if you can figure out what it is. And on the very top floor, oh, Patrick guessed it. Patrick guessed it. Yeah, I don't have any of the KeyForge miniatures. There's actually miniatures for KeyForge that would be perfect for this. But I was going to do a joke, and I just forgot to bring down the prop to track my location with. But now the joke's ruined. Patrick ruined it for everybody. Just kidding. But no, don't do it, Mel. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But she could tell I was looking for something. She felt it. She felt it through the force. She was like, Rob's missing a component. But no, I have a meeple here. I found a wooden meeple. We're good. Okay. So here's depth number 2. In depth number 2 is where our key is hiding. The vault binder, okay? This will bind the vault and stop the cultists from opening the seals, okay? This is hiding. I'll just put it off to the side. This is hiding somewhere in one of these depth 2 locations, okay? All right, here, I'm going to slide this up here. We'll put this like this. And we need to be able to put locations on here because the bad guys' locations or artifacts or whatever, they go on these locations and they only affect the location you're currently at. So if the Abyssal Conspiracy adventure deck's trying to punish you for staying in the same location, you can run away. And you don't forge keys. So what do you use the amber for? Well, in the forge key step at the start of your turn, you spend amber to move around here, okay? And we have a third depth of locations also, okay? And in this third depth is where the seal is we need to close up, okay? No, it's okay, Patrick. I was only joking. You don't have to apologize. I was done getting it. I was too worried about setting up the audio thing and testing, so. How's the audio sound? Still good? Is it still cool? Do I sound okay? I'm testing out stuff, preparing for Gen Con, so yeah. I don't normally use this setup, but I'm just trying some stuff out. Okay. So we'll put these like this. Okay, something like this. And in here, one of these random spots is the place we need to use the key to seal it up. And all this costs amber. Sound is good. Okay, perfect, perfect. Yeah, I'm sure you guys would have yelled at me if something was wrong, right? If I was like spiking or anything like that. Okay, so to move to one of the places in the same depth, that costs 2 amber. 2 amber during the forge key step, or if I have a key cheat, a way to cheat a key forge in the middle of my turn, I can also do it then. And if it's a free key cheat, I can go anywhere on the board, okay? But to go deeper, it costs me 4 amber. To go back up, it costs me 1. Okay, and when I'm in the same row, I can go any location in the same row, I believe, for 2 amber. And then deeper is 4. Let's just double check that though, now that I say it out loud. Is that right? Moving to a shallower location costs 0. Moving to a location in the same depth costs 2. Oh yeah, it shows it right there. Yeah, in the picture. So I can move to any location in the same row for 2 amber, but I can move 1 down directly. You can't move diagonal, obviously. I can move down 1 adjacent location, but in the same row I can jump because I'm in the same depth, I guess. I don't know what the logic is for that, but it's supposedly a thing, I believe. Okay, so I'm going to follow this. I don't know if this is correct, but this is what I'm going to do, okay? So again, I could move all the way to here for 2. Okay, I can move down to here for 4, down to here for 4 more, but I couldn't do that on the same turn unless I had a way to cheat another key forge, a forging of a key. Okay, so we start up here at the boat. Okay, another thing that will happen if we move deeper is the tide. So we have the tide mechanic time. It tells you right on this card, after a player descends to a lower depth, we need to lower the tide. When the tide's low, the AI's cards are better. When the tide's high, we get benefits and the AI's cards suck. A little bit less, okay? Also, I believe to forge, to use this weapon or key or whatever, to seal the seal or whatever it's doing, thematically. Again, you can read it online. The rules are fully available online if you want to read the story and understand what the hell is Rob talking about. I'm just going to show you mechanically how it works. I don't really care about the story, but when you seal the thing, it does mention that the tide has to be high, and you spend a whole bunch of amber to seal it, and you have to have this key. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. So I'm going to put this, I don't know where to put this. Let's put this right here maybe or something. I don't know. Let's slide this over. Maybe we'll do it like this. Okay, we'll put the tide here. Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to lay it out here. Okay, here's another cool thing. Okay. This is the different seals. These are kind of like the keys that the AI is trying to forge. So we're going to lay these out here. 2 per player, 3 per player, so it scales up 1 to 3 players. Okay, and it shows the cost that the AI wants to spend in amber to open another seal. And these seals all do bad things and get worse depending on how many seals are already open. And the art on them looks sick. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle these so it's different every time you play. Just like we shuffled the locations, they're different every time we play. Sometimes I get lucky and I find this key really quickly and I find the seal. Sometimes I don't, and I'm wandering around lost in the ocean and getting beaten to death, sitting at lower depths. So you do get punished sometimes worse from the deck by being at a lower depth. So there is a reason sometimes you want to go back up to not get hurt as much, or to take advantage of some of the cool abilities on these cards that can help you like get more amber or play creatures readied. But usually when there's a reward or a benefit ability on here, there's also a punishment that the AI can take advantage of if the tide is low. So I want the tide to be high, so I get all the benefits. But to raise the tide, I need to use card abilities, which I do have some this time. So hopefully I won't get punished for that. Or I can take 3 chains to raise the tide. Or I think that's the only way, right? Yeah, so it starts low, and I think it even tells me on here, the Omni ability, yeah, raise the tide, gain 3 chains. That's going to be like a card draw restriction for a few turns. Okay, so I'm going to lay these seals out here randomly. And again, like some of these are really rough, especially if they come up late in the game, you know, because they get worse. Usually they'll like make you discard cards from hand based on the number of seals already revealed. So obviously that doesn't hurt as much if it hits here versus there, or lose amber based on the number of seals, you know, things like that. Purging cards, there's crazy stuff. Okay, that's all the components for this right here. Okay, I think I shuffled this deck. Let's just shuffle it up more. Okay. So we're trying to move around, find this key, keep the tide high, stop them from opening so many seals, and try to seal the gate or whatever it is in the bottom level here somewhere. So that's what we're trying to do. This is a more like creative scenario, it feels, than the first one. The first one's you just fighting against an octopus guy and you're trying to creatures. You're still trying to do roughly the same thing, but I like the way this adds this whole like movement mechanic and stuff with variable powers on each place. It's kind of neat. But it still has this tide thing, which I don't know if I'm a fan of, but it works. It works. It doesn't make me want to buy more Dark Tidings or whatever. That's for sure. Because the normal Dark Tidings decks, they come with their own tide card for the tide mechanic. So when you're playing 2-player, like the tide changes based on like who it's facing, and you have ways to change the tide, and your opponent has ways to change the tide. But in a normal game, your opponent can raise the tide by gaining 3 chains if they don't have a deck that interacts with the tide. And but I'm just going to keep this card under here because we don't need it, because we have this tide card to work with the scenario. So hopefully that makes sense. And again, I scheduled the third. They released a third scenario that should be out in retail sometime this year. But I got it with my pledge. It's in like a haunted mansion. I started reading the rules. I haven't played it yet, but I scheduled it for Monday. But might get moved to Tuesday depending on how busy our weekend is. But if you want to set a reminder for that, you can subscribe, turn on the alarm bell notification thing, or you can check the playlist in the video description. You can set a reminder for that, where we'll check out that new scenario, like a haunted mansion theme. So I'm curious to try that one. Gives a little Arkham Horror vibe, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? All right. So this deck here. Let's look at this deck actually on the computer. On the computer. So this deck is called Honk Merikja. Merikja. I don't know how to say the name, but anyways, I don't pick the names. They're just come out of the pack, and that's what they got. But here is the deck list for you to see. I don't know if it's better to see it on the other website, that Deck's a KeyForge website, but here it also is. It's only a 64, so it's more of the middle of the road according to this. One of the 50% of decks according to SAS. So there's its stats if you care. There's its name if you want to look it up. But it does have a card named Bubbles, and I am a fan of Trailer Park Boys, so I'm happy to play a deck with a creature named Bubbles. Okay, I don't know. I think it's cool. I wanted to play the other deck because, if anyone knows, I basically got into competitive card gaming through Game of Thrones, the card game, first edition, published by Fantasy Flight Games. And there was a player who was a math teacher from, I think, like California, named Bruno. And Bruno's a super nice dude. Bruno's like a really cool player, really great player from the old days of Game of Thrones, the card game, when I got into it. I believe I met Bruno at a tournament, but he's super nice, has said nice things about channel, left nice comments on videos before and stuff. Bruno's a cool dude. I appreciate what he did for Game of Thrones, but they immortalized him in a card here. I'm like 99% sure. One of the designers was friends with him, and since he was like such a serious card game player and friend of some of the designers, he has his own kind of like reference, but that's old Bruno. Anyone who played Game of Thrones, the card game, knows Bruno in the competitive scene, and that's I want to play an old Bruno deck because it also reminds me of getting into KeyForge. But yeah, the Howling Pit, I can't do it. I can't do it because I don't know how it works for sure against the AI. But yeah, there you go. So fun times, fun times. All right. So instead, we play a deck with Bubbles. Still cool. Still cool. All right, so that's the plan. Hey, Minion, how's it going? All right. So again, the first turn rule of KeyForge does not apply. So we don't draw 7 cards and only play 1 card. We draw 6. And I'm going to keep it today. I'm not going to mulligan, even though I haven't looked at it. Well, they're just going to keep it. I don't want to mess up again and forget that I should draw 1 less card. So we're just going to roll. Yeah. Okay. So what are we playing here? I mean, I'm debating just going with Untamed, because House Untamed, I have 3 cards I can get out of my hand, right? And then I'll draw into more cards. If I play Unfathomable, House Unfathomable, I can only play 1 card. And it's an action that exhausts a creature. Well, there's no creatures in play, Rob, so maybe let's not play that. But if an exhausted creature is already exhausted, and I try to exhaust them again with Exhaustception, I can destroy it, and its controller loses an amber. So when I read cards like this card, literally, this card right here, describes the way I like to play card games. I love to play this type of stuff. This faction reminds me of Dis, and Dis was like my favorite house because it was the troll house, and very control-y, very annoying to your opponent. Anytime you played Dis creatures on the board, your opponent in a tournament just was like, God damn it. Like, I'm making you not forge keys, I'm messing up your hand, your card draw. Like, I love it. So Unfathomable, I don't know much about them. I haven't really played much of them. But when I saw this card, I was like, yes, this is what I want in a deck. And it comes with Shadows. And Shadows is all about stealing your opponent's amber. So this deck beat me so many times, I had to revert to filthy, dirty, sneaky plays, okay? And that's what we're going to do today. But then it has nice, cute, Untamed, right? So this is to lead my opponent into a lull to think everything is okay. And I'm just playing Untamed and everything's cute and I have some animals and I'm just making some amber over here playing with pixies and stuff. And then I steal your amber and I exhaust your dudes. Deal with it. That's the play. All right. So let's just get some cards out of hand. We're going to play a Deepwater Gruin, coming in to play Exhausted. We're going to gain 2 amber for that. Again, if you notice any mistakes, yell at me. I'm a little rusty. I took like a 3-year break from KeyForge. I'm new to it. I haven't played much of this set. I just learned this thing yesterday. So feel free to leave in the comments below any mistakes I make to help other people learn from my mistakes. Or if you're watching live, yeah, just yell at me in the chat. And we'll try to roll back and correct things. Okay, this also has, oh, if the tide is low, your opponent gains an amber. That's okay, though. Should I be okay with that? Can I raise the tide first, actually? Should I take Change to raise the tide right now? Is that a thing? Should I do that before I play this guy? No. We kind of want our opponent to have amber, right? So we can steal it. But then we got to watch out they don't get 2 amber, so they open the first seal. Let's do it. Let's keep it low. I don't know, I'm regretting it already. I do have ways to raise the tide in here. But no, we'll just go with it. Let's risk it. Let's be risky. Okay. Let's put the Way of the Pixie on here. So if this creature reaps, it gains an amber. And because the tide was low, my opponent gains an amber from this guy. And then we're going to play, I don't know how to say that name, Myliobe. While the tide is high, it gains Skirmish. And before fight, you enrage the creature it fights, and each of that creature's neighbors. A little stingray guy. I like this guy. Okay. And that's it. That's my turn. Ready up. We have enough to move to the left or right or something on our level there. We're going to drop to 6. Oh no, another Deepwater Gruin. Okay, it's telling me Shadows is the next play. But check this out. Look at the art on this. Like, this is new to me, right? Some of you guys have seen this card for a couple of years probably, but look at this pirate ship. This is awesome. I can exhaust up to 2 friendly Shadows creatures for each creature exhausted this way. Steal one. See, they definitely nerf steal, because that's like a lot of bending over backwards to steal some amber, but I don't know. It's cool. It looks awesome. Oh, man. Okay, anyways. All right, so now the Abyssal Conspiracy goes, and they check first, can they forge a key or open a seal or whatever, and no, they don't have 2. Next, they will draw 2 cards, just like the Key Rackin' did. They draw 2 cards off the top, but if they had any archives, they would draw that first, but they don't. So our first card is Deep Priest Anikava, an evil twin, an Aquian, by the way. Reap, the Conspiracy Archives Adventure card. Okay, okay. So that'll just go in a battle line here from left to right always. And the next card is Sink to the Depths, which is an action, play. A creature with the highest power on the bottom. Oh no, see? Low tide. I shouldn't have left the tide low. Oh no. So put the creature with the highest power on the bottom of its owner deck, repeat it the preceding effect. So this troll-ass scenario just saw that I put in 2 juicy characters and said, you know what? We're going to erase that whole turn pretty much you just did. And so I will choose that this one goes on the bottom of the deck first. And then because the tide is low, we're going to repeat that effect. So this guy goes on the bottom of the deck, and this will go to the discard pile. And I already hate this game. All right. Anyways, just kidding. So that's it. It has no locations to resolve. No characters are readied. So this one readies up. And that's its turn. It comes back to us. We have 2 amber. Should we go left or right. We can go left or right, or we can save our amber and try to get 4 to go down. But I kind of want to go to one of these, get an ability going, and maybe raise the tide, so we could get a benefit. First person to say like left or right, we go that way. It's all random. I don't know. What are you guys feeling? Anyone feeling a direction to travel? In our, we'll jump out of the boat and kind of do a little swimming at the top of the water. Anybody? Left, right? No? Everyone's working and not paying attention. I can tell. I can tell. Amanda says left. Left it is. Yogi says inland. All right, Yogi, go home. Go home, Yogi. I'm just joking. All right, so we're going to spend 2 and go left. Thank you, Amanda. Sorry to interrupt anyone who was working, for real. I'm just joking. But yeah. We'll go here. And this is the Krill Garden. While the tide is high, your creatures gain reap, gain 1. Oh, yes, please. Okay, but the tide is not high right now, so we have to raise the tide. We got to do it. I don't know if we have a card for it, though. Okay, that was our forge key step. We now have no amber because we spent it. Let's see. Do we have a way to... I think I'm just going to take chains and raise the tide, man. I got to do it. Because I can't get punished. I should have just taken the chains. Okay, we're going to take 3 chains and raise the tide. I know this is not the way I wanted to do this, but I don't have any of my tide raising effects right now. I should have did it last turn. I even thought, this is rough. Oh, Yogi had to alt tab. So difficult. I'm just kidding. It's all good, guys. It's all good. I appreciate you being here. No worries, Amanda. No worries. It's all good. I'll just make random decisions with dice rolls. It'll be good. I was just testing to see if everyone's awake. Okay. I appreciate it, though. I appreciate it. Okay, next is our turn. I don't know. I probably should just name shadows because I have a whole bunch of shadows cards. Sure. Okay, so we'll put an artifact in play. Sea urchin. I remember the urchin. This guy's a different version. He's got poison, play, capture 1. If the tide is high, steal instead. Okay, sure. I'll play him. I'll steal an amber. Then a hobnobber. If your opponent has 6 or more amber, steal 1 as an action, but obviously he's not ready to do that action. And gas pipes Malone. Before fight, the creature gas pipes Malone fights, capture 1 from its own side. That's filthy. I love it. I love it. Okay. That's our turn. Tide is high. We have no one to reap yet, but I just raised the tide anyway. So we're going to lose a chain down to 2. And we're only going to drop to 5 because of that. Which I should have did last turn. Okay. I'll put this back on top. All right. So the AI doesn't have any amber. Can't forge. So next it's going to start playing cards. So it's going to gain an amber for playing this card. It says Truth Uncovered. Put an ignorance counter on each of your non-flank creatures. While a creature has an ignorance counter on it, its text box is considered to be blank, except for traits. Okay, so it'll gain an amber. Oh no. Okay, that's fine. He loses poison, but I mean, he still got his play ability. So I just have these little bingo chips. I'll just use those generic tokens to blank out the text box for me. So that's what that means. But only our non-flank creatures. So it's only 1 right now. But if we had a larger board, that would really suck. Okay. And the second card, it's our first artifact. It's a weapon. And these come into play ready, actually, for this scenario. So it will come into play at our location. And it will get resolved after we do our battle line. This one will discard a random card from your hand. Okay, so this is only affecting me when I'm at this location. So now it's going to go through its battle line, and our little creature here is going to reap. This is bad. Gets an amber. Then it will archive an adventure card. Then we'll do locations. It's going to discard a random card from my hand. I don't know. I have a die here somewhere. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, the Call of the Void. Okay, whatever. All right, and that's their turn. Back to me. I only have 1 amber, so no forge key step shenanigans. I only have 4 cards in hand. Okay, I'm just going to go shadows. I'll play a card called Loot or Pillage. I'm telling you, this deck is just like for me. Choose one, steal an amber or a friendly creature captures 3. So we're gonna steal one. Okay. Let's just exhaust one Shadows creature and steal one. And then we're going to... I could just fight twice to get rid of that one, but like, I can't let them keep archiving cards. I gotta deal with it, but... Yeah, you know what? this is super silly. But I'm gonna just do 2 fights of 3 to just get rid of this creature. That's probably not the way to do it, but it's the way I'm gonna do it. Oh no, you know what I should do is take advantage of the reap gain over here. That's probably the better way. Yeah, no, you can keep your shenanigans. I will just reap twice, and then because the tide is high, I'll gain 2 extra amber. But you know what's gonna happen? It's gonna play some card that's gonna discard all my amber. Okay. I don't know. Okay, ready up. I lose another chain and only draw up to 5. Okay, AI. So it's going to draw from its archives. Oh, another random card discarded from hand. So 2 a turn for staying here. I should have moved from here actually, but it's okay. I think. All right. Then its first card from the draw. Oh no, it's those damn Merkins. Which are elves and thieves. Has a playability. If your team controls more creatures at your location than the conspiracy archives 1 card. Well, I have 3 creatures. They have 2. So yes, they archive a card, which doesn't get drawn yet. That's next turn. And then the last card is, it's Senator Brackus, who's elusive. Seals at this location cost -1 amber for each amber on this guy. Reap, you exalt him and your least powerful creature. Okay. So now this one's going to reap and archive a card. This is so bad. It's so bad. Okay. And then these 2 are going to discard 2 random cards from my hand. I'll just shuffle and discard these 2. Oh no. Yep. Oh man. Oh no, this would have been amazing. Oh, okay. This is bad. Very bad, very bad. Very bad, very bad, very bad, very bad. Okay, maybe not. I think we have an answer. Okay, for now. Then they're going to ready up. I need to, now it's my turn during the Forge Key step. I 100% need to get out of this location. I can't keep losing 2 cards every turn. I could go down a depth, but then the tide will lower, and I gotta raise it back up, but I don't have a way to raise the tide easily. I'd have to gain more chains. And that's no fun either. But I gotta keep pushing to get the game going to try to find this. If I can find this, that might help me with the tide, right? Yes, that could. Okay, so I'm gonna spend 4. We're gonna go 1 deeper. That will lower the tide. Let's see our location. Well, the tide is high. You may play. Okay, this is the one. This is the one. Yes, yes. This is the location where you find the key. I got lucky there. Thank you, Amanda, for choosing left. Otherwise, I would have been over here and went down. Then I had to like go all the way across. I know where I probably went 1 by 1. So while the tide is high, you may play the Vault Binder as if it were in your hand. And then while the tide is low, which is right now, so I do have to raise the tide myself to be able to get this thing. And while the tide is low, the creatures gain Reap, Archive, and Adventure card. No, we can't. That's bad. We got to raise the tide with chains. Okay, I'm going to raise the tide, take 3 chains. Okay. And the tide is back to high. And then now while it's here, I can play this from my hand, like it's in my hand. So it's going to come into play exhausted. Okay, so now I have the weapon. Now we need to find the location to use the weapon in the 3rd level. But I don't have enough to go down next turn yet, so but it's still my turn. Okay, I named Unfathomable. Yes, we'll do Unfathomable. It's a word I can't say very well. All right. Choose one. Your opponent discards a random card from their hand, which would be a random card from their archives, or exhaust a creature and each of its neighbors. Well, that's what we're doing. So we're going to exhaust this creature and each of its neighbors. Okay, so they're going to go to sleep for a round. Okay, so that'll take some pressure off of us a little bit. And it says this guy, the tide is high, so we don't have to worry about this. But when he fights or reaps, I can exhaust enemy creature and each of its neighbors. So definitely a trolley card. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, feel a little Lannister vibes here. Okay, and then I'm going to draw at the end of my turn. 3 chains left, draw up to 5. Oh man, I have a whole bunch of these chant cards. Yeah. Okay, okay. All right. So that's our turn. Ready these up. Okay, now onto their turn. They only have 1 amber. This guy doesn't have any on him, so no reduction. Now we're going to start drawing from the archives. Scout Pete. Okay, just comes into play exhausted. Uh-oh. 2 amber. Discard the top card of the adventure deck or the top 3 instead if the tide is low. It archives each creature discard this way. So that's 2 amber. So 1 card will be discarded. It's a creature, so it gets archived. Now we're going to draw from the top of the deck. Oh no, it's a sabotage. Okay. 1 amber. Play if your team controls more creatures at your location than the conspiracy. Nope, they're even. Oh, I would have to exhaust each of my creatures. Nope, nope, not happening. And another amber. What is this? So much amber. So fast. Play. The conspiracy archives X adventure cards where X is your current depth. That's 2. Oh my god, it's going to have a crazy turn. Next turn it's going to play 5 cards. Oh my gosh. No locations. All these guys are exhausted. So that's the turn. Man. Chickadee check, son. Okay. So I can move with 2 to like an adjacent place, which could be beneficial. Because it could have an ability. And like the positive on this is gone now. Because I already have this weapon. Or whatever it is. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to push over. I will go... I'll just go to the middle one. I'll just go to the middle one. Let's see what it is. While the tide is high, resolve each of your bonus icons an additional time. If the tide goes low, each card the conspiracy plays gains an amber bonus icon. The shell market. Okay. So we're at the shell market. Okay, that's great. Do I have... Oh, I would double up these. These bonuses would be doubled if I play these kind of cards. Okay, okay. But I need to control this, maybe. Shadows might be the play. But then I leave all these guys up. I can't. So I have a debate here. If I name Unfathomable, I can start creature control, which is getting out of control. Or I can just steal Amber and try to keep a seal from opening. But I think I need to deal with creatures at this point, because they're going to draw a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm going to name Unfathomable. And I'm going to fight with this guy. He's 6. He's 6 strength. So if I fight with him, yeah, I'll just fight this Merkins guy, I think is the play. No, I'll fight Scout Pete, actually. I'll fight Scout Pete. So take 4. Scout Pete's gone. Then it says, the after fight ability is exhaust an enemy creature and each of its neighbors. So I'll exhaust these guys like this. Okay. Then I'm going to play this card, doubling my amber generation on it for 2, the bonus icons. Okay, exhaust a creature. If the tide is high, exhaust each creature instead. Oh, I see. That'll exhaust all my creatures. But then if I... Oh, man. I misread. I thought it was a different card. Whoops. So I didn't need to exhaust there. It might be okay, though. Because if I just don't play Shadows next turn, then we're fine. Oh, no. Maybe this was dumb. Because I could have just exhausted this one, but then... No, it's fine. It's fine. I think. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's okay. Oh yeah, because my guys will ready up anyway, right? They ready up anyway at the end of the turn, which I don't need to use any of these guys. Yeah, duh. I'm sitting there thinking I'm screwed, but it's not happening that way. Okay, then I draw, losing a chain, down to 2. One more card. Gas pipes Malone. All right. Their turn. We're gonna spend 2. We're gonna see our first seal open. It's the Frigid Seal. After the seal is open, lower the tide. Uh-oh. Tide's lowered. And each non-conspiracy player stuns one of their creatures that is not already stunned for each open seal. See, that could be really bad later, but it's the first seal, so I only stun 1 creature. I don't know. There? I think. Sure. All right. Then it goes to playing some cards. Sink to the Depths. Play. Put your creature with the highest power on the bottom of its owner's deck. If the tide is low... Oh, no! The tide just lowered. Most powerful on the bottom of my deck. And then we'll put this one. Serenity Now. Serenity Now. Okay. Next. All right. Evil Twin of Fuzzy Gruin. Oh, no. Okay, now 2 cards off the top of the deck. Oh, man. I'm in trouble with the creatures. They are not coming out the same way they did last time I played. And a location that deals 3 damage to one of your non-flank creatures with 1 splash. Okay, so all these guys are exhausted. Nothing happens, but this does happen. I don't have any non-flank creatures, so this also doesn't happen. So, yeah. Wow. So we lose if all 5 of these seals get opened. That's how we lose, and we win if we can find the seal to use this key on and have 6 amber, and the tide has to be high. All right, let's see what we got here, man. I don't know. Yeah, let's go Untamed. Let's go Untamed. Do I have to take chains again to raise the tide? Like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Oh, man, this is rough. So I go to 5 chains. Tide is raised. I'm going to stay at this location, I think. Yeah, let's stay at this location. Oh, no, you know what I could do? No, you know what I could do? Sorry, let's not take the chains. Let's not raise the tide yet. During the forge key step, let's spend 2. We'll go to this location. While the tide is high, your creatures enter play ready. Oh, okay. So I still have to raise the tide for that to happen. Okay, I still have to raise the tide for that to happen, but I got rid of that location. Okay, so I'm going to raise the tide, 5 chains. Okay. And then I'm going to do this one here. So I gain 1 amber, then I choose a house. I'm going to choose House Conspiracy or whatever their name is. They do count as a house, their own house. Exhaust each enemy creature of the chosen house. Okay. So this is my play, is just exhaust them over and over again. That's what this deck does, I guess. Okay, I'm going to play Ritual of Life. It'll come to play exhausted, but later I can destroy a friendly creature. If I do, return a different creature from your discard pile to your hand. I love recursion. That's awesome. And then we got our classic little Deepwater Gruin here. Now, I wish I kind of stayed at that location for this purpose, but I think I didn't know what this was going to do. But now that the tide is high, this guy comes into play ready. Still gains me 2 amber, and since the tide is high, they don't gain an amber from this guy. And then... let's just fight. He won't be gone. Let's just fight Merkins. I guess. Let's thin the board a little bit. I don't know. Okay, ready up. Lose a chain down to 4. Yeah, this is the rough part, is the chains, not seeing my tide raising mechanics. Okay. Back to them. They're going to spend this 3 amber. We're going to see another seal. Primal Seal. After the seal is open, lower the tide and give a +1 power counter to each conspiracy creature engaged with the player for each open seal. Oh my god. Guys, I'm getting wrecked here, actually. The way this is like lined up is disgusting. So these guys all get +2 power. Oh my god. Oh no. All right. Oh, the tide's low now too. Oh my god, what does that do? Well, the tide is low. The conspiracy creatures enter play ready. Nothing I can do. Oh no. All right, here we go. Oh, Merkins are back. Play. If your team controls more creatures. No, they don't. You guys have way more creatures. Get out of here. And discard the top card of the adventure deck, or 3 instead if the tide's low, and we'll archive creatures. And they also got 2 ambers. They need 4 amber to do the next forging. 1 archived. 2. Oh, that's a good card for me, actually. Usually. And 3. Okay. Oh yeah, Merkins entered play ready, right? Okay. So it's just Merkins. He's got a prey, so he attacks the creature with the highest power, and it's skirmish, so he doesn't take any damage back. So he's gonna fight the Gruin. Right. Blame the fluffy giant Rob. Yeah. My god. This is crazy. I like the challenge though. Like, it definitely feels way different than some of the games I played yesterday, just based on kind of like what is happening, what I'm controlling, what I'm ignoring. Okay, they ready up. My turn. I'll spend 4. And we got to rush it. I'm going to go down 1 depth. That'll lower the tide, but the tide's already lowered. So this is not the card I was looking for. While the tide is low, you cannot play more than 2 cards each turn. So I need to raise the tide or I'm in trouble. So we need to like explore one of these locations next round. I need 2 amber for that. Okay. I can raise the tide with this. That's maybe what I need to do. So I could name Shadows and use one of those creatures to do that. Oh, I do have a tide raising effect. The tide is high, gain an amber, otherwise raise the tide. But is this the house I want to play right now? No, not really. Yeah, we need to rush. How are we going to do this? Yeah, let's just play shadows, I guess. We need to get at least 2 amber to be able to move. Okay, let's do that. Okay, let's play walk the plank. Your opponent has no amber, deal 4 damage to a creature, otherwise steal 1. Yoink. We'll play a gas pipes Malone. We're going to fight with this guy, and it says, before the fight, the creature gas pipes Malone fights, captures 1 amber from its own side. He deals 3 to this guy deals 2 back. So this guy dies, I get the amber. Get out of here, Merkins. Alright. Oh. Maybe I should play this after. No, that stole it. Never mind. Never mind. I could steal this first. Okay, let's raise the tide. We'll exhaust a friendly creature of the active house. So I'll exhaust this guy. And we'll raise the tide. And then as an Omega, which I think is the last card I get to play on the turn, I can put him anywhere he's elusive. After a neighbor of Little Nif fights, steal 1. I'll put him, I don't know, here. Okay, that's my turn. Ready up. Yeah, Mark, I know last time you were saying this is the easier scenario, but like I have not found that actually. I found this scenario has trolled the hell out of me with a few different decks from a few different sets I was trying yesterday. But maybe I just don't understand like what kind of works against this scenario, but I feel like this one is definitely more interesting. I feel like Keyraken can be solved easier. He's more of a straight, like a one-trick pony kind of thing. There's a few answers to him that are like in a lot of decks. But I feel like this scenario, like there are some answers probably, but like a few less silver bullets exist in the card pool probably. But I feel like this one is more interesting for sure. And a little crazy and can get out of control if you don't have the right stuff. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But out of the two, I've probably played against Keyraken like 10 times. I played against the scenario maybe like 6 times. And I found this one much harder. But yeah, and your recommendation, I think, right? You recommended I play something that has tide manipulation. I did that. And that's the only way I beat this thing was by playing a deck that manipulated the tide and actually got those effects at the right time. This one has been ripping my hand apart in this playthrough, and the same deck that I used to crush this before is now getting kind of beaten a little bit. Because I beat this guy in my first try with this deck, and it never even opened a seal because I was stealing enough amber and stuff and was rushing through it. But I didn't have a mass amount of creatures like this when I played before, and I didn't have the seal problem. And I also am having trouble. I've looked all over the place. I'm trying to find this thing. It's in one of these two. To end it, I still could win, but it's not as easy as the first time I won. Okay, so that was the end of our turn, right? We need to draw up, so we lose a chain down to 3. We're gonna draw up to 5, right? What the hell is this? It's a key frog. Someone just mistyped KeyForge, right? Destroyed. Forge a key at current cost. Oh. Oh. So this is like a key cheat, right? So I could use this to be able to move twice in a turn. But the problem is I got to play this and somehow have it destroyed, which will take some time probably. Oh, no, it won't. I have this. Holy crap, I just learned of a combo. Yes, we might, if I can get, oh, I don't have enough amber right now, but if I generate another 2 amber, even if I look at the wrong location, I could possibly key cheat to the next location. But then the problem is the tide has to be high, and then the next round I have to have 6 amber to be able to do it. So, oh, this is, I'm a few turns away no matter what. Oh, this is crazy. All right, back to this guy. He has no amber. It's going to draw from his archives. Okay, it's another senator. Okay, card off the top. Fiendish Undercurrents. So it's going to get an amber. Play either deal 2 damage to each of your team's creatures, or your team loses 4 amber. I don't think I can choose to lose 4 amber if I don't have it. So let's just deal some damage. This guy's gone. This guy's gone. This guy's gone. This guy's gone. And all I have left is this. I'm in trouble, guys. Very much trouble. It's just like wipe my board, right? Oh no. This is crazy. I'm having fun though, I'll be honest. Boom. Man, look at that. All right, I think one more card, right? Yeah, one more card. And we get some amber generation at our location. All right, so now we're gonna go through these guys. This is where we get it. It runs out of like it's gonna race right now. It's gonna crush us. Reap. It's gonna archive an adventure card. This guy's gonna reap, and then he's gonna exalt himself, and this guy also. Then this guy's gonna fight the creature with the lowest power. So he hits this guy for 7, takes the amber, and then gets hit back for 3. And then the conspiracy after the fight gains an amber. This one, reap, archives an adventure card. This one, the left, oh, it can't fight, so it just reaps, right? And then the location, conspiracy gains 1 amber because the tide is high. So just like that, because I don't have much creature control, it appears, other than exhausting, yeah, they're at 8 amber, which that can definitely open this one and almost have enough for the next one the turn after. Gross, 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 gross. And they're going to have a huge turn next time because they have 2 cards in the archive. And I'm over here with chains like an idiot. Oh man, this is rough. Oh man, oh man. Well, during the Forge Key step, I'm definitely moving. Anyone watching want to give me a left or a right? I'll go with the first one in chat. Either I go the left location or the right location. Which location do we hope the final location is under? Left, says Yogi. All right, left it is. Yogi's got the fastest internet. Let's see, is it the location we're looking for? Titan's Gate. While the tide is low, seals cost -2 per player, so that means this thing can open these even faster if the tide is low. At the start of your turn, oh, this is the location. Yes, yes, yes. At the start of your turn, if the Vault Binder is at this location and the tide is high, your team may spend 6 amber per player to win the game. Yeah. At the start of our next turn. Okay, so we're here. So if we can get 6 amber, which I don't know if that's possible, and if we still have it at the start of our next turn, we win. So we gotta hope they don't steal any, and they don't win the game. How the hell do we do that? Oh, I could key cheat if I had enough amber, but I don't have a way to like gain all that amber right now. I'm in trouble, guys. I'm in so much trouble. Can't believe my board's wiped. What do I do? This is stupid. Yeah, I'm kind of stuck, guys. I don't know how to. Yeah, the AI is gonna roll to victory unless I can hurry. All right, all tied up. I'm gonna do Untamed. This is rough. Gain an amber. If the tide is high, gain another amber. Play Key Frog, which not gonna really help. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Destroy a friendly creature. If you do, return a different creature to your hand. I don't have an answer here, do I? I could just grab a Deepwater Gruin, destroy this guy, Deepwater Gruin to get me more amber. But that's it. I don't know. Yeah, we gotta try though. Yeah, let's destroy a friendly creature and put this one in hand, then I'll play this one for 2. I don't know. Desperation, guys. Desperation mode. Oh, no. All right. Lose a chain. The chains are what's crushed me. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, old Patty. Where were you this game? That's what I had early last game. All right. Okay, AI. -1 on key cost. So only needs to spend 3. This is where it's going to get disgusting. Lower the tide. Each non-conspiracy player discards 1 random card from hand for each open seal. I lose 3 cards from my hand. Yeah. Is it he can only descend 1 level per turn? Maybe you discard to try to get a big untamed turn. Yeah, maybe could have been the play. So 1, 2, 3 cards discarded. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, all right. Where were we? That was that. Tide's lowered. Okay, card from here. Ignorance counter. I don't have any non-flank creatures, so let's just get to an amber. Next card. Uh-oh, it's Sir Morrow's. Okay. Card out of here. Okay, they're gonna gain 2 amber when it gets the location resolution. And damn Merkins, they're everywhere. No, I definitely don't control more creatures, so no. No, no, no. Okay. So next we'll go across here. Conspiracy, archives a card, reaps. This guy will reap. And then he'll exalt and exalt. Okay. Fight. So 7 definitely kills here. 5 will kill here. So bad. So bad. Creature control is very important against this scenario. I'm seeing this now. All right. Reap. Conspiracy, archives, and adventure card. No. Prey. No one to fight, so it just reaps. And then reap. Oh no. Okay. And then this thing says they gain 2 because the tide's low. Oh my god. I'm getting rolled. What is this? I thought I found the deck. I thought I found the deck. Okay. My turn. I can't win the game because I don't have 6. I have only 2 cards in hand. I don't know how to gain 2 amber this turn and hope. I'm sure this seal will probably make me lose all my amber. What can I do? I have like 2 turns. Yeah, I don't know. Shadows, I guess. That's it. Like lose a chain down to 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. This one has a reduction of 3, so only needs to spend 2 to open this seal. After the seal is open, lower the tide and deal 1 damage to each non-conspiracy creature for each open seal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Definitely enough. And tide is lowered already. Oh yeah, and it has a reduction over here of 2. So it actually didn't even need to spend any. Didn't even need to spend any for the keys. So it's free. It wins next turn. I don't have a way to win, so I think we're done. Unless I have a key cheat of some kind, but I don't think that's going to happen. No. I think it's over, guys. Yeah. Because it opens for free. Even if I moved, it still has enough amber. I don't have a way to steal that much. Yeah, we're just done. But, I mean, we can keep going, but I don't even want to go through the motions. Yeah, that's gross. That's gross. It got out of control. So, yeah. I don't know. I thought I had a good deck against it, and it did work really well. But I just saw different things earlier in the game, and this didn't happen. But that's sometimes with the shuffle like this. It just makes the scenario feel very different, which is kind of cool. All right. So yeah, that's kind of nutty, right? That was kind of nutty. That was nutty. But that is the Abyssal Conspiracy. Yeah, that's the Abyssal Conspiracy. So it's kind of cool. Like this I like a lot. This moving around. Like some games I've actually gone back up, you know, because I wasn't ready. I was worried that bad things were going to happen. I couldn't raise the tide, so like I would run back up so I wouldn't get punished. Because if you look, the top level you get bonuses. The AI doesn't get any no matter what the tide is. On the second level, there's a bonus for you if the tide's high, and a punishment or a bonus for the AI if the tide's low. But then on the bottom, there's no bonuses at all. It's only punishments for staying down here. And then some of these cards punish you for being at the lower levels, right? For the lower depths, which I think is a cool like push your luck kind of thing, right? So you like don't want to go down there unless you're ready. So there is a play, and maybe that's where I'm misunderstanding the strategy here, is maybe I should be moving down, getting this key or whatever, this artifact, the relic, and then move back up. And only go down when I'm like ready, you know, so that all the punishments aren't hitting me as hard. Maybe that's what I should be doing instead of just progressing lower and lower, right? Maybe that's the thing I'm missing, why I lose so much in this scenario. But yeah, it's crazy. I've only played this at 2 and 3 players, so perhaps it eases significantly with 2 people. You spread amber losses and have 1 focus on tide turn and 1 on board wipe. Oh, that would be good actually. And you could be at different locations, right? So you could run away from these punishments easier, right? And they don't all pile up on one player, I guess. That could be the thing. But I don't know, it's pretty challenging solo. At least I found it to be, which is good. You want these kinds of things to be challenging, so then you're incentivized to try, you know, the same deck again and play more, and maybe try other decks and then go out and buy decks, you know, and you're trying to find the answer. You know, it should drive you to want to play it more. And it doesn't make me feel bad like I'm being like, you know, it's unbeatable, because I know it is. It's just trying to solve it, which is cool. I like that. But I don't want to just like find a deck that's broken against it. I like trying to figure out the puzzle, right? Because I feel like any deck could probably beat it. You just gotta like, you know, there's a trick here, I think. But also this time mechanic here, you got to be like kind of fast, right? You can't dilly-dally, which I kind of was. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's definitely cool, but man, it's challenging. I do like it a lot though. I do like this one better, I think. But they're both good. Like I like the other one where it's just straight like fight. You're trying to fight the big bad, you know? But this one is kind of like, I don't know, this push your luck little sideboard is neat. And the fact you're not forging keys is kind of weird. It makes it feel different. But yeah, that's cool. That's it. Any questions? Any questions? For watching me get rolled? Oh yeah, Mark. Mark, now that you're here, Mark, I have a question for you that I asked earlier in the stream. How would this work against the Key Racken or the Abyssal Conspiracy? How does this work against the KeyForge Adventure sets? How would this change your game besides just you drawing an extra card or your 2 to 3 players at the table drawing an extra card? Is that the only change? How does this affect the game? I wanted to play this deck, but then I didn't want to do it on stream because I could not find an answer Googling. No one has a clear answer on how this works against the Keyraken or against the Abyssal Conspiracy. Because the AI is not a player, but they're an opposing player. Like, I read through the rules, I was trying to solve it, but if you're watching this later, anybody comment down below again, like I said before. How would you rule this? I'm curious. Is the Keyraken a player? It says in the rules it takes place of the opposing player. But then it also tells you the Keyraken gets 30 health per player. And if you're playing solo with me at the table, that's one player, it's 30 health, right? So it wouldn't count itself as a player, making it 60, right? So it's technically not a player, but it says it takes place of the opposing player. So that's what's confusing me too in the rules. But I don't know. I don't know. It's a mystery to me. But like same with like Succubus, right? Or any of those ones that like reduce your opponent's card draw. How do they affect the AI in these situations? Okay, Young Slim One says, I don't think the Keyraken is technically a player, so it would only apply to you and your team if you're playing co-op. Oh, okay, okay. That's how I would think right away. When I first read the card, I was like, oh, cool, this only helps me. But then I was like, let me Google online and see what other people are saying about cards that hurt and increase card draw against these adventure scenarios. And everyone has their own ruling for different reasons. There's so many different ones. Some people say the AI doesn't really have a draw card step because you're drawing cards for it. And it doesn't really have a hand to draw cards to, but then it has an archive, which counts as its hand. So would I let the AI draw a card, but it goes to the archive? You know? Is that a thing? You know what I mean? Like, who knows, right? But yeah, it probably doesn't affect them, I would think. I definitely need the help in this scenario with this one. But yeah, it's a weird one, right? Definitely a weird one. It just wasn't clear. I was trying to figure it out in both scenarios, and I just couldn't figure it out. But yeah. I don't know. It's a weird one. So if that's the case, yeah, I probably shouldn't play again. I do have other stuff to do. I got to try to learn a game to playing for this Saturday, so I do need to take some time to do that. So I'm debating playing a second one, but I think I'll keep the stream nice and short for those who want to just see this scenario. And then we are playing another KeyForge Adventures scenario next week. It's already scheduled. You can set a reminder for it. But yeah, I was debating playing 2, but I think I should just call it. But yeah, I do love these KeyForge Adventures though. So far, I like both of the ones I played. But yeah, we'll check out the third one next week. So yeah, check it out in the playlist down below. It's down there. But yeah, that's cool. Let's see. If you wanted to play like the Keyraken was a player, i.e. make things harder, you could have them draw additional cards. They would play 3 instead of 2. There's rules on if a card effect makes him draw a card, it goes to his archive. Oh. But I couldn't find the same rules in the Abyssal Conspiracy, though. It isn't as clear with some of that stuff either. So does it work different in this scenario versus that scenario too? That's the other question I have. It's interesting, right? There's the rules on, okay, but that would make it way harder. I agree, it's already hard enough, I feel. When I'm just playing with default decks, right? Like just random average SAS decks. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, but it's definitely fun. Like, this is very fun. I like this stuff. I like how I can play KeyForge with just solo or play co-op, like turn it into a co-op game. That's kind of neat. And I think they did a pretty good job with these 2 scenarios so far. But yeah, I want to check out I do want to play the third one next week. So we will definitely check that out. How does KeyForge Adventures compare to Aeon's End? Again, one is a co-op game from the ground up. And the other one is a competitive card game with 3 bonus scenarios that turn the game into a solo co-op, but again, it comes down to like, you have to be a KeyForge player first. I would never invest in this as a co-op and solo game solely, but it's cool that it's an option. Because remember, people bitch and complain in a lot of the co-op games, there's not enough content. Not enough scenarios in Marvel Champions. Forever, I heard that, right? This literally only has 3 scenarios so far that you can play. One comes out every couple of years, basically, is the rate, right? This game's been around for like 5 years. We only have 3 of them, right? Are they going to make any more? Who knows? But if you're a player of KeyForge and you have a local scene, or you have someone in your house that wants to play competitive 2-player KeyForge with you, or you own a bunch of decks from the old days like I do, this is a cool way that even if your local meta is dead, or you just want to test out decks that maybe suck at tournaments and you just want to play them cooperatively, or have some friends over that hate competitive games, and you have a huge competitive collection of KeyForge decks like I do, you have a way now to turn those decks into a cooperative, fun experience. How replayable these 3 scenarios are, they seem pretty replayable. Again, I played one of them 10 times, still want to play it more. I played this 6, 7 times now, I want to play it more. Because the decks are very replayable too, right? Like KeyForge decks, there's something about them that make them very replayable, trying to solve the puzzle of each deck. It's really neat. Not to mention every set that exists, right? So you could go buy a KeyForge deck, 1 deck from each set, right? Or whatever sets you can find still. Or buy 3 decks from the new set, and then buy one of these adventures and play it. Yeah, you have tons of play combinations, and maybe that's more fun to you if you like the game of KeyForge. But you have to love KeyForge. And make sure you love KeyForge in general, because remember, Aeon's End or Marvel Champions, those games are designed for the solo co-op experience from day one, right? And all the content that exists is specifically for that purpose. So yeah. Yes, you can mix the decks of KeyForge. They recently added a variant called Alliance Mode, where you can take 1/3 of one deck, put it with 1/3 of another deck, and 1/3 of another deck, or 2/3 of one deck with 1/3 of a different deck. The houses just all have to be different. And it is a supported tournament format. It is taken pretty seriously. So for those that felt KeyForge has no deck decisions other than picking which deck to bring to the tournament, there is now an extra layer to that if you want to play the Alliance format. So yes, you could take some decks, mix and match the thirds, and make your own decks to play against these scenarios. But these scenarios weren't designed with that in mind. These scenarios were designed well before the Alliance mode. So if you're doing Alliance decks, you're probably skewing the difficulty way on the easy end. So keep that in mind. Alliance decks are meant to be played against other Alliance decks, right? Because now you're breaking the algorithm. You're breaking the game. So that's my opinion, but who knows, right? But yeah, you can mix decks. Absolutely. If you want. It wasn't like an official thing, but people were doing it, like fans were doing that. Even when the game first came out, they were making their own little side events of that stuff where they were doing that. But now there's an official mode called Alliance. But yeah, I just love KeyForge. But remember, I got in KeyForge day 1. I have a ton of decks over the years I've been collecting. Even when I haven't been playing the game for the last 3 or 4 years, I still was buying a few decks a year. Every time a new set come out, I grab a couple decks. If I was traveling and I stopped by a game store, I'd buy a deck or 2, and I just kept collecting them. So I just have a bunch of decks. But in the first and second set, I have hundreds of decks from those first 2 sets, because I used to play it competitively, and every time I go to a convention and I play like 2 days worth of KeyForge tournaments and side events, they're giving you decks in those side events. They're giving you decks as prizes. I would go to other regionals and national events, and they're just giving out decks. They're selling decks at discounts. You're trading decks with people. I had friends who gave me their collections when they left the game. So I have like tons of KeyForge decks, like tons. So a product like this definitely brings more value out of the decks I own, especially the ones that aren't great for tournament play, that are just meant to be played casual. Now there's a whole bunch of decks in my collection that should be just given away or thrown away that I would never play, but now some of those are the best decks against these scenarios, which is neat. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. But yeah, but KeyForge is coming back. A lot of retailers are going to be stocking the newest set. It's now run by a new publisher, so it has a second life coming in the game. All the new stuff is compatible with all the old stuff. They're working already on the next set. They've already been spoiling cards from the next set. And that wave's going to hit retail soon, I think, if it isn't already. It's called the Winds of Exchange. And the next one they're working on is like Grim something. I don't have the name here, but How do you decide which deck to play with? You could randomly do it. I used to have them organized alphabetically. I do have them organized, most of my decks alphabetically by name, but there is a whole online database. So there's a website called the Master Vault. If you just Google KeyForge Master Vault, it's an official, I'm not logged in on here, but let's see here. But in the Master Vault, when you scan a deck, each deck has a QR code. You scan it in, it registers your deck online. This also connects with the tournament software. So as your deck wins and loses in tournaments, your records are saved. So I don't know, let's click on, these are recently scanned decks, right? People recently open these and scan them in the app. Okay, so you can see if this deck was played at a tournament, and it could have been just a store tournament, a casual tournament, could have been a serious organized tournament, like a regional or something, but it's only 3 rounds, so it's probably just like a Thursday night tournament at their local game store, you know? So it lost 3 times, this deck, or the player stinks, right? Or everyone got better decks that night. But you can look through the decks here, and you can look at it like that. But there's also a deck that's a fan-made deck worked on by a bunch of people called Decks of KeyForge. I believe there's a bunch of people working on it. At least there was at some time. And on this website, it pulls the decks from the other one, but there is something called SAS, which I forget what that stands for. But they basically rate decks based on what cards are in it with an algorithm or whatever. And it ranks your deck based on certain criteria, like amber control, artifact control, how fast it is with card draw, how much you know, damage it can do, does it have board clearing effects, does it have meta cards in it. So there's this whole calculation that's done here to come up with the base arc, whatever this stands for. I forget what all this stands for. Then there's like efficiency bonuses, meta synergy, anti-synergy, and this is super nerdy, but you can log into here, import all your decks into this website. Well, they're all on this website, but you can add them to your account, and then you can rank your decks, sort your decks, look for certain cards, filter, and this is how you kind of manage your collection. And this works on the phone. So I would be at a tournament, and I would open 3 decks, and I would scan them in, and you have to pick a deck to play in the tournament. So I'd scan them in, I kind of look at the decks, I'd import them into here, I'd analyze them kind of quickly to see, does it have as much amber control as I think? You know, I can quickly look through a deck. I used to be able to and just judge what it did based on the rares and what cards are in it. But what I did with the first the first adventure pack with the key rack, and I learned you kind of need board control. You need big dudes, work really well against him. So which house has the big dudes in my collection? It's Brobnar. Brobnar is all about big dudes and fighting. So then I limited it down to, let's look at all my Brobnar decks, or a few of them. So I just grabbed the first couple that I saw in my box, right? But I'm sure I could import all my decks on here, sort them by SAS or arc rating or whatever, and then filter by Brobnar only, and see which Brobnar deck has maybe the best amber control in it. And then maybe that's the best deck to play against this scenario I just played. So you can get super nerdy and deep with KeyForge, and you can spend hours messing with stats of KeyForge, even though there's no deck building really. Okay, you open a deck, that's the deck. But this whole idea of opening decks and building a collection and then reading stats and going in here and figuring out which deck answers the meta and like which decks go well together and make your own little sets of decks to play with friends, and it's crazy. Like it's deep, and there is a whole secondary part of the hobby of buying, trading, selling, hunting for decks and stuff. Yeah, it's really cool. But I love the tournaments where you show up to a tournament or a little side event, and they're like, here's 3 decks. You play with, choose one to play, and once it loses twice, it gets eliminated. Then you have to pick one of the other decks to keep playing. I love those kind of ones, because not only do you get to play with, like, everyone starting out with 3 random decks they've never played before, and then you're making some choice and analyzing your cards to choose which deck to play, and then you still get to leave the tournament even if you lost. You just got 3 decks, right? Yeah, you paid for them to play in the tournament, but it's like you're always walking away with content, right? And then if you win, you're getting like awards and free decks and points. There's like a whole point system on the website here. Based on in your account scanning decks, there's this whole thing called Amber, which you can use to buy entry into tournaments, I think is how it works now. But they used to have prizes. So playing competitive KeyForge, I earned a whole bunch of Amber shards from scanning decks, playing in local tournaments, winning games at major tournaments. And then you could spend that to get swag, like like little dials that are premium and tokens and gaming chairs and plushies and all this kind of stuff. I don't think they do that anymore yet, but you can use the chains to buy entry into like larger tournaments and side events and stuff, I think. Hey Camille, how's it going? Hello, hello. But yeah. Mark says there are different styles and you might find which one you like best. Yeah, every deck plays different. So like, just like when you build a deck in a card game, so all the aspects of the game have cards that play that way and decks that play that way. There's decks that are jacks of all trade, but there's decks that are like very good at a couple aspects of the game, and each faction has its own things it's good at and it's bad at. So based on how you like to play, you might like to play fast, you might like to play slow, you might like to play control-y, you might like to play exhausting the player's characters as your board control, or discarding them from play, or putting them back on their opponent's deck, or at the bottom of their deck, or discarding them, or purging them, or just fighting them, or wiping the whole board, including your board, and effects of healing. You might be a healer, and you're getting all this extra amber for healing and keeping your characters on the board more. You might want to be fighting. Maybe you don't want to fight. Maybe you want a deck that's just stealing all your opponent's amber, or capturing all their amber and then spending it. And there's so many different aspects and crazy things in this game, and like every faction has like a little bit of the stuff, but each faction is better at certain things. So even though you might want like let's say I want a Shadows deck because I want steal, some Shadows decks aren't focused so much on stealing, and then they might focus on different aspects of the game. So you might find a good Shadows deck that pairs with another faction a little differently. So even though you'll find a Shadows Sanctum Logos deck, it's not going to play necessarily similar to another deck that has Shadows, Sanctum, and Logos. Especially if it's from a different set, because they started changing things as the sets evolved, which is really neat. But the fun part about the game is how I like... so in what I found was when I played competitive games where I build the deck or I net deck a deck and I tweak it to my liking, I find a play style and a deck that matches that play style, and I stick with it. And then I play it tournament after tournament after tournament. Yes, I have success because I'm now playing a deck that I know so well, and I don't have to worry about learning my deck. I just have to worry about what the meta is and what I have to deal with, and then I tweak my deck to do that. But the crazy part in KeyForge is you necessarily can't find a deck that has all the cards in it that you want that play exactly the way you want it to play. So I love the way it breaks me out of my like safety. I don't know how to say it, but like breaks me out of my shell, makes me think differently, makes me think outside the box, makes me uncomfortable, makes me play different decks. Especially when you just show up to a local tournament, like I said, and they hand out a deck to every player and tell you, open your deck, you have 5 minutes to sleeve it, and then we're playing the first round. And everyone's just playing Wild West, a brand new deck, trying to figure it out. But I love that you go to a tournament, you have no idea what the player across the table is going to be playing from you, right? You don't know what your next matchup's going to be because there is so many decks out there. It's like the Wild West. Even though they're playing Shadows in their deck, or they're playing Brobnar, they're playing Logos or whatever, or the Unfathomable, you don't know if they're going to have the meta cards in there, or they have some completely thing you're not expecting. You don't know if they have 3 copies. I think they now, at the higher level tournaments, you get to look at your opponent's deck list or whatever. At least it was. But before, they didn't. And you also don't know before you pick your deck for the tournament, right? So even though you sit down against the house that's so popular, you don't know what tools you're going to have in that house, which is interesting. And I think it's cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as Mark's saying, on the flip side, you can ignore all. Yeah, on the flip side, you can ignore it all and embrace the random and just play a new fun deck, or a new deck for fun. That's what I was just talking about. Yeah, exactly. So you can get super serious and chase down the meta cards and the meta kind of decks and stuff, or just play random crazy stuff, which is fun. And I did that at the 2019 Gen Con tournament. I didn't take a deck that I had the highest SAS or that had the cards in it that I liked. I took a deck that I got randomly at a tournament at Origins, and I did okay in a side event with. And I just felt it was a fun, trolly deck. And anyone that knows Oh, what was that location called? Here, I'll show you the deck. But I brought this deck to the tournament, and I didn't even think it was like meta, but it was trolly and fun. And I was just there to film games and have fun and to make content later, right? But while I'm filming games, I also like to play, so I'm not just sitting there staring at games, right? I want to still play at the tournaments, even though I'm like filming games for later. Um, so I brought this deck because it was funny, and I had a bunch of plays with it. But it ended up I was like one win away. I was literally like one turn away from making the top cut, which blew my mind. But it was very fun. I'll see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it on here. I'm trying to remember part of the name so I can search it, but I might have it in my... Oh, I see it. Yeah, hold on. I talked about this on a stream before, I think. But yeah, it's a fun little deck. And anyone who knows the second set, you'll understand like right away like why I was drawn to it. Whoa. I saw it come up for a sec. Oh, there it is. Okay, one sec. So this is the deck. It's called Strange Circuit, the Cat Burglar Scammer. But yeah, I played this at the tournament. What was it has a location, hold on. Oh, a War Grumpus. It's called a War Grumpus deck, I think. No, that's not right. A Grump Buggy. A Grump Buggy deck is what they call it. And I didn't realize, I remember I played one opponent and they're like, oh, you're playing a Grump Buggy deck? I'm like, Grump Buggy deck? It's not even the rare in the faction. I wouldn't call it a Grump, but then I realized after like why they called it that. So it's all about like raising the cost of keys. And then it had like some fun where it had these imps in it. And these imps basically stopped my opponent from forging keys. So they would build up a ton of amber, and then somehow I would steal all that amber. And I did it with what was it? Oh, this, right? Yeah, I would literally get my opponent having like 20, 30 amber, and then I would get all their leftover amber and then forge like 3 turns in a row. Or something like that. I forget exactly how it worked, but it took a lot of understanding and playing it to understand like how this crazy deck worked. But I remember getting it at a side event, and I'm looking at these cards and like, what the hell is this deck trying to do? But I chose to play it just for fun, and I ended up winning all my little side event games. And then after one of my opponents was explaining to me some of the other combos in the deck, and then I had fun playing it. Like it was super fun deck. Yeah. Not finished with you? What's that one? Let's see. Shuffle any number of creatures from your discard pile into your deck. Yeah, it has a recursion, right? Yeah, this is a crazy deck. It was so crazy. Oh, look at the synergy. 13? Yeah, it's a little above the curve now. But remember, this deck was out in the second set, so there's only 2 sets at the time. Now there's a whole bunch of stuff, right? But yeah, I brought this to a Gen Con tournament, and actually, like, I won like almost every game except for like 2, I think, or something. Maybe I forget how I did, but it was fun. It was a crazy deck. But yeah, I love Dis because of these crazy cards. But yeah, put an enemy creature into your opponent's archives. Yeah, just like trolling the hell out of the opponent is what this deck did. I remember playing people and they just didn't understand what was happening. I just seen the look on their faces and they were like, what is this deck? Because nobody was building or preparing, not building, choosing their decks at the tournament based on this kind of deck showing up, right? So that was the fun, was showing up with everyone was playing the first set decks at the tournament and the first deck style of just stealing and racing and wiping boards. But like this came and nobody expected a second set deck to do this kind of stupid stuff. But I thought it was just funny and trolly, so I did it as a troll, but yeah. Jackpot Man, there can be similar cards, but no deck is 100% the same. So there might be a deck out there that looks almost like this, but maybe doesn't have 2 memory chips and has something else in it. Because no deck is 100% the same. There might be similar decks that play like this, but might not have the same combos in it. Because the deck list has to be different. Every deck is unique. Every deck you open is different than any other deck that exists in the world, because all decks are tracked in a database and they're built with an algorithm. So every deck that's printed off the factory line is 100% different than any other deck. And then the crazy part is in the newest sets, some of the cards will be the same, but they'll be enhanced. So they'll have different bonus icons on them. Then there's like evil twins. And then some decks might have cards from a future set in them, which I opened one yesterday, actually. I don't have it here, I don't think. Maybe I do. That was the first time I ever saw that in one of my decks. It's called, oh, frig, what was it called? I saw it and I had to Google it. I didn't know why the card had that symbol. But it had all like lightning around the border, and it was a card from a future set that's put into the decks like randomly when the decks are all made. You can also have cards from the past appear in your decks, even if that card is not part of the current set, which is crazy. So there's so many weird things. So even though you sit across the table at a tournament and you're like, oh, you are playing, or you can expect players to bring a deck from, you're playing a deck from set number 4. They could have cards in it from set number 7 and set number 2, like might be in the deck randomly. It's just crazy. Oh, it's called an anomaly, right? Yeah. Jar Goggle was like that Star Wars Destiny Premonitions. What? What is this guy? Jar Goggle? Elusive. Put a card from your hand face down under Jar Goggle. Destroy it. If it's your turn, play the card under Jar Goggle. Otherwise, archive that card. Oh yeah, this guy's busted too. So you could like set up some of these imps and when you needed them to work and stuff like that. Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, this deck was so fun. This is one of my favorite decks ever that I've ever played. Yeah, it was so fun. I don't remember how it all worked exactly, but man, you play it like 15 times, you're still finding cool little timing things that you want to line up in the game to just like troll the opponent. Oh, so good. So good. Anyways, fun times. I now have to rescan all my decks in the game back into the database because they wiped them all. They're still in there, but they're called like legacy decks. So you have to like rescan all your decks because they're doing this new ownership thing. So now you can like order, if you lost a card for your deck, your dog ate the card, you left a card at a tournament, or someone stole your deck, you can order, they're going to have it so you can order the missing cards or the missing deck. You can have it reprinted. So if you scan in a deck, you own it specifically, which is neat. So if you go to tournaments, you have to like prove you own the deck so that no one like steals decks or anything, which I guess was a problem or something. I don't know. But yeah, this Ghost Galaxy is definitely like trying to evolve KeyForge the way it used to be. So I'm curious to see where it goes from here. But I don't know if I'll play competitively ever, but I'm interested. I'm definitely interested. But it'll be just hard to know what the hell is at a tournament. Like I'm so used to card tournaments where you kind of learn the meta. You can expect like 90% of what to see at the tournament, so you can come prepared. But that is also part of the fun of KeyForge. I don't really have to prepare that much. I just pick a deck I really like and I feel it can deal with things and is good at the game, and I just learn that deck really well, and then I bring that to a tournament and try my best, right? And just hope I have some pairings that work out, and the games work out. So it's kind of fun. It's definitely a game that you can get into at any time because you just buy a deck and it works. You show up to a tournament, that deck is legal, and you're just going to play a bunch of other people who have legal, like random decks, that, and you don't have to worry about them like having a card in their deck that's illegal or something, right? Because it's like they didn't build it, right? It's just how it is. But yeah, you can transfer decks. Yeah, I don't know how it all is going to work, but yes, you can transfer and trade and all that stuff. I don't know how they do it, but that's supposedly a thing. Yeah. Oh, Mark's saying the old way, the first person scans the deck gets the bonus amber for buying the deck and scanning it, but then anyone can scan it in after. But I don't know how to trade ownership, how the new ownership stuff works. That I'm not sure. I don't know where to find that. The news, maybe? Oh yeah, they have like Vault Tour tournaments are back again with like thousands of dollars of prizes on the line, supposedly. They have a Canada one yet or what? Oh, Shanghai, China, Florence, Italy. Yeah, these are like Vault Tour tournaments where they'll have different tournaments there. And they have like cash prizes and stuff. But yeah, I don't know much more about them. I guess the only one I could have gone to was Pennsylvania, or I guess Minnesota. But yeah, I don't really have the time to dedicate to this game like competitively like I used to. So, but but yeah. Oh, here you go. Deck transfers and ownership process. So if you want to learn all about that stuff, it's all right here. Oh, transfer deck. There's a button for it. And you select the user in the database to transfer it to. There you go. Done. Right there. And then there's all about the deck ownership. Yeah, so yeah, Jackpot Man, if you want to learn all about it, just go to the KeyForge website and start clicking on the news section. And all the information's in here, how it all works. If you care. But it's there. Yeah, Ghost Galaxy's been pretty good at like keeping everyone updated on all the changes and future plans they're trying to do. $10,000 prize pool per event. Oh my god. Italian players are pretty insane, says Mark. Polish too. There was talk some time ago about playing your decks online. Yeah, but that was when Fantasy Flight Games had it. When Fantasy Flight Games owned the game and they were trying to fix it and bring it back, they said they are going to work on an app that you can play it on, a digital version. But then they sold it to Ghost Galaxy, and Ghost Galaxy said there's no plans right now for that. I don't think they've announced any plans. They said they're going to focus specifically on getting organized playback, getting local store playback, and all that. So yeah, I don't know about digital KeyForge if that'll be a thing, but I think it should be. I've always wanted it to be an official way to scan in your decks and play people online and have tournaments, like online tournaments, kind of like Magic does or Pokemon does and stuff like that, right? And other card games. There's many other online, Hearthstone and all these kind of things. Like the fact you're scanning all your decks into an online database and there's already physical tournament software to track all that stuff, I feel like it's not too much of a stretch to start adding in ways to play your decks online officially and prizing and all that stuff in there, right? Like, I think it's a huge missed opportunity in our global internet age to not have a way to do that. And I know this game is meant to be played in person. This game is meant to be visiting your local game stores, traveling to conventions, playing people in person is what this game was meant to do. They didn't really want it to be an online kind of game. But I think you can't ignore that as something you should probably do. So hopefully they do that in the future. But I remember they said for now they're just focused on getting the game back, making new sets, getting people buying it again, playing it again, tournaments. So once the game once they get it back on its feet, then maybe we'll see them start investing in that if it's successful, right? So we'll keep buying KeyForge decks if you want to support the game and, you know, maybe go to tournaments and stuff. And maybe they'll invest in an online way to play it. Who knows? Yeah, 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 exactly, Mark. Exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting. Ruben says, I just got into KeyForge a few weeks ago. What's the best set in your opinion? I'm a noob with the sets, okay? Ruben, I played the first set. I had hundreds of decks. I was heavily into tournaments. The second set came out. I was there at the launch events, playing in the very first tournaments. I was in Origins, playing at tournaments inside events. Owned tons of decks, played locally, traveled to events. But then I got out of the game, basically. And then they released like 3 more sets, and now 4 more sets, I think. And I literally have only played probably about 2 decks from each of the new sets. I don't even think I have any, I think I only own 2 from the one with the big dinosaur cards and stuff. I forget what that set was. But that set I barely have anything for, and I don't even think I've played any decks from it. But now Dark Tidings, I played like only 3 decks, so I haven't played all the cards in the set. I haven't played all the factions in the set. Also, Winds of Exchange, I've only literally played 2 different decks, and each one I only played like once or twice. So I'm not the best to tell you what the best set is. I couldn't answer. I still have a place in my heart for the first set because that's the one that pulled me in. That's the one that I saw grow at all my local game stores. People loved the game when it first came out, and people are obsessed with it. The second set came out, a lot of people didn't like it as much. And then after that, I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like the Tide mechanic feels gimmicky. The Winds of Exchange and the whole token characters, I think that's pretty messy. And I don't like the way the boards already get pretty crazy in KeyForge. So adding face down cards to a game feels cheesy and like low quality to me, but it still works and it's still fun. But it's not what I like in my card games at all, so wasn't my choice. But the cool part is I can choose not to play with decks from that set. But the problem is I have to play with decks against decks at tournaments if I go to them. I don't know what the other sets added, but some of it seems gimmicky. But then when I play, it's kind of fun. So I don't know. And it's hard to say. Like it depends what you're looking for in a deck. But the crazy part is, somebody could say, oh, the third set is the best, or like Mass Mutation is the best. That's what I hear a lot, right? Mass Mutation is the best one. Okay. So I bought a few decks of Mass Mutation. But even if I bought 10 decks of Mass Mutation, who says that I'm going to find the cool cards or the cool houses in the decks that I buy, which is kind of funny, right? So people could say like, oh, Mass Mutation is the most fun because of this new house. And I was like, oh, cool, there's a new house. But I buy 5 decks and none of the decks have that new house in it. That sucks. But it doesn't mean the decks are bad or I'm not having fun with them. So it's hard to say like what is, in general, I feel like this kind of game is hard to say like what's the best set, because you can't just like Magic the Gathering or some other collectible card game, go buy a box of that set and then trade for the cards you need. You can trade for decks in this, right? But you're not necessarily going to be able to build a deck with the faction you want. You might not be able to buy a deck with the faction you want unless it's secondhand, right? So there's still a chase to the game, which is interesting. But yeah, I'm just getting back into the game for the first time in like 3 years, so I'm like a little rusty to it. But it's always fascinated me. This game is so fascinating. Comes from the mind of the guy behind Magic the Gathering, but like designed in a crazy way, like that the decks are already built. That's so crazy to me, and they still work. Every deck works. Like it's not all, they're all great. They don't all play the way you want them to play usually. Some of them are so weird and different, but they all still work. They physically could win games, which is nuts. It's nuts to think about, right? Yeah. Mark knows a lot about the game, has the least of Dark Tidings. Oh, Worlds Collide. That's the set I couldn't remember the name of. I think I only have 2 decks, and I probably haven't even opened them for Worlds Collide. I think I bought like 1 starter set or something and stored it. Which I feel are a bit clunky. They capture well, but also Exalt provides amber opportunity for your opponent. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Exalt keyword as a balance mechanic. I don't like it. Yeah, the jumbo cards seem gimmicky, but I don't have a deck, or I've never played a deck with one in it. Maybe I have a deck I haven't opened yet that has the big characters. Too hard to get out, too easy to destroy / wipe. Okay. Yeah, some of the stuff just seems gimmicky what they added to the game, but the game is meant to be that way. Like, it's meant to be chaotic. If there's ever a game I would compare KeyForge to, it's the game Epic the Card Game from Wise Wizard Games. It's a small box, cheap little game. You don't need to build up resources really, but it's all about big, flashy, crazy turns and effects. When I played that game a bunch and then played KeyForge, it felt very similar, the same kind of aspect. You don't really have to worry about economy. You just play cards for flashy effects, wipe the board, blowing things up. It's all chaos. And it feels very cool, and it definitely captures it very well. Except for in Epic, you can play random or just play with the cards in the box you bought, or you can build decks if you want. But it does feel that the whole chaos thing is there. Like, it feels very similar. But yeah, it's not a very popular game. Epic, the card game, not a lot of people play it. A lot of people bought it, I feel, but not a lot of people play it organized or anything. It's a very small community. But it's very cheap. You could buy that and play with a friend for like $12. You can buy like a little box of it and just play it. You'll see what I mean if you play it. Or if you look it up, you'll see videos of it and stuff. But yeah. Mark says it's similar. Oh, I've never played Hearthstone or however you say it. But Mark says it's similar to Hearthstone in my opinion, but with different amount of actions per turn. Okay, okay. On all sets play evenly against each other. Oh yeah, sorry Ruben, I missed that question too. Can decks from newer sets be used against older ones? Yes. I know new tokens and mechanisms are introduced. Yeah. Yeah, there's always a way. So even in the tide mechanic, there's a way of raising the tide and lowering the tide, which is just on some cards it mentions. If the tide is low, this card sucks. If the tide is high, this card's better. The player who's managing the tide, that works, but the other player can always do something. Even if they don't have a deck that has any tide mechanics, they can always gain 3 chains, which is just taking a restriction to change the tide to try to mess with the player. So they always come up with a way to kind of make it so every deck works in every game scenario, which is interesting. Yeah, Ruben, we're going to play Lorcana. Yeah, I'm going to Gen Con. I should have come back with a couple starter decks I can play. We might even have some coverage from Gen Con. Talking about it, playing it, whatever. I'm going to go. It's going to be the crazy game at Gen Con with the pre-release there. But yeah, I'll see if I can grab all the starter decks maybe, and we just play with those on the channel a little bit. But I'm not going to get deep into that game, I don't think. It seems too like it seems like it's aimed at kind of a younger, more simple audience. I don't know. I know a lot of like professional card game players want to play it, but from everything I've watched and learned and how it plays, it seems like a little maybe too simple for me. But I could be wrong. I've never played it, so I can't judge. But I feel like I like games like KeyForge and stuff that are a little more complicated, a little more next level. I also don't really like deck building. So I don't really want to try to learn the whole card pool of Lorcana and try to build decks for it. I just want to try the game out. So I'm going to go to like a learn to play event, learn how to play it, get some starter decks, play casually with Mel or some friends at Gen Con maybe. And then, yeah, maybe we'll play it on the channel when we get back just to check it out. But I just want to see what it's about. I'm more interested in the Star Wars Unlimited game next year, actually. So yeah, I'm a little more interested in that. Which I think I have a demo booked for that game too. I think to check that out. They're gonna have that at Gen Con too for demo. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know, Mark, about that lawsuit. What progressed from it? I don't know if it's gonna cause any trouble at Gen Con or not. I don't know. I remember I was a little worried though when I saw it. I was like, "Oh, damn! Is that gonna ruin everything at Gen Con?" But I haven't heard that it is, so I don't know. And the law moves slow, right? So nothing might happen till like way later, right? Oh yeah, Soulforge is definitely similar too to KeyForge, kind of with the whole craziness and like epic, swingy, big, flashy effects, kind of, right? Yeah, Soulforge was similar, right? Soulforge Fusion or whatever. I really like Soulforge Fusion. That's a great game, and that they are doing digital officially, a nice digital thing. I think they're working on. They announced. But yeah, that game is really cool too. Yeah, I like that game a lot, man. There's way too many cool two-player card games. Like too many, way too many. They'd probably prefer to move forward after it has made money. Yeah, yeah. Your last 10 years of profits are ours. Yeah. Yes, agreed. Yeah. Yes, make all the money from Gen Con first. Then we'll get you later. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm curious to see what happens there. Guys, I'll be filming at Gen Con, maybe live streaming again like last year. So I'll let you guys know. I'll try to get video of like the people all rushing for Lorcana stuff, or check out the booth of the Black Friday rush of everyone throwing stuff around and trying to grab all the stuff. Who knows? Who knows how crazy it's going to be, right? But I'll let you guys know how it goes. So stay tuned to the channel over the next couple of weeks. Should be fun. Will be interesting with sorcery, Flesh and Blood, Magic, Soulforge, Keyforge, Lacana, Star Wars Unlimited. What else is there's way too many. There's way too many always, and there's so many dead ones too. Like every year, there's like a handful of new CCGs and TCGs, and the next year the same amount die. It's like so many come and go, right? I remember seeing so many over the years. Every time I go to my local game store, they have new ones on the counter. Like I remember there's like Final Fantasy themed ones and stuff. Like, man, there's crazy stuff. All these anime ones, they come out all the time. There's all different ones. So way too many, way too many. Which is why I like staying with the LCGs at first, the competitive LCGs, because I didn't have to chase cards. I knew they were from a publisher that made the board games I love. It just was easier for me to follow and keep up on. They didn't release as quickly, so it was nice. But yeah, Flesh and Blood, it's like comes out with sets way too fast. I feel way too many cards all the time. I couldn't keep up even casually. So I just have like starter decks and stuff. And I even stopped watching tournaments. I couldn't keep up with all the new cards and stuff. Yeah, it's too many. But I love Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood's an amazing game. Soulforge Fusion, amazing game. KeyForge, amazing. I've not played Sorcery. I don't know about that one. Lorcana, hopefully I'll get to dabble and try it, but it'll only be a starter deck, so it probably won't be as good. It'll just be kind of vanilla, but we'll see. And then Star Wars Unlimited coming next year. I'm kind of excited to check it out. It's another Fantasy Flight game CCG, so we'll see. We'll see if they don't ruin it or not. But yeah, should be fun. But yeah, I'm curious to see where KeyForge goes. Hopefully KeyForge can survive, but I don't know, man. It's a crazy world out there in the CCG market. Like, you just make one mistake and there's way too many distractions, and a customer will just go spend their money at a different game that has more players. It's just crazy, right? So many of those companies make so much money and they're all fighting for your dollar. So it's just like all it takes is one slip up to piss off the community and you lose like half your players. And it's not like there's another card, like it's not like they can't find another card game to fill their time with, right? Because there's so many options. So you have to be like super careful as a publisher and a company. Like make sure you please your fans, keep them interested, keep your hardcores happy, keep your casuals happy, keep your new players coming in, you know, keep it interesting. And you got to keep reinvesting for sure. Because it just all of a sudden, a few months pass and your game's a dead game. And everyone just moves on to something else. Oh, Yogi said happened in Diablo. Diablo 4 patch was bad. Everyone will move over to some other RPG. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Video games, like lifestyle games, any game that's a lifestyle game where you're like subscribed in and you're supposed to just keep playing it forever. Yeah, all it takes is like one shiny thing to pull you away, one mistake, one slip, and you lose all your player base. Yeah, never get comfortable. It's crazy. Oh, they dropped the patch yesterday? Oh, so it's happening right now? Oh, no. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's not like the 90s where it's like you had Diablo and not much competition. Now it's like there are so many Diablo clones, I'm sure, right? So many games that can give you that Diablo itch. Or scratch that Diablo itch, I should say. Not give you the Diablo itch. I hate getting Diablo itches. They hurt. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to go read another rule book, try to learn another game, and hopefully stream it on Sunday or Saturday. So we'll see. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Thanks for hanging out. More KeyForge coming next week. Stay tuned. It's already scheduled. Set a reminder. If you like what you see, hit the like button on your way out. Thank you to these people for supporting the channel. I did not receive this from the publisher. Okay, I bought it directly from the publisher at their booth, but you know what I mean. They didn't give me this for review. They didn't pay me to play this. I'm just playing this because I love KeyForge. Full disclosure, I should have said that all at the beginning of the video and I totally forgot. Yes, like Mark says, keep KeyForge alive. So I'm going to keep playing KeyForge casually off stream, but I'm going to try this adventure stuff. And at some point in the future, hopefully Mel and I can have a nice little 2-player card game stream set up where I don't need to rearrange everything. And maybe we can play some casual KeyForge and some other competitive games on that setup in the future. So if you'd like to support the channel to play more competitive games, you can support us. There's links down in the video description below, or you can hit the join button. because all that money helps us buy more equipment, go to conventions, buy games, and helps me do this full time. So I appreciate all your support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next stream. Bye.